Hi everybody, it's Maureen from mycasestudies.blogspot.com. Today I don't have a finished project for you, but I promised a tip on using the Mandalas, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce it, set from Concord and Ninth. We did the hop a while back, and I said on my blog that I had a little tip for you that I wanted to share, and it just took me a little while to get a video done and to show you what I'm talking about. And there's actually a couple of tips in here. So this is the Mandalas stamp set, and then there's a matching die set that goes with it, and so that's what my tip is going to be today. And the other thing that comes with the stamp set is a template sheet, and it looks somewhat like this, except I've cut mine up, and I'll show you why. The reason why is because if you use the template as it is in your MISTI, that's fine and everything. It's an odd size. It's not an A2 size template. And the way the mandala was printed on it was a little crooked to me, and sometimes I'm a little bit kind of perfectionist or very particular about how I want my stamps to come out, and so I kind of wanted it a little more evenly spaced on my card. And so it would take a bit of doing to figure out, okay, I have this A2 card and I have this template, and I'm gonna want to position it this way and then have this big template, and it's gonna be kind of off to the sides of my MISTI. And so anyway, my little tip is just to cut out the template. And so it comes on a rectangle, and it has a video link on it, and it also says, if you can read this, the correct side is up. Well, I cut that off. So what I did was I just took a really fine point Sharpie, and I wrote the word up 2 times so that you know that if it doesn't read correctly, it's backwards. So you say up, up, and you don't have to write it twice, or you can write it everywhere. It doesn't matter. And then what I did was, after I cut it out, I cut it very loosely, and then what I did was I laminated it in my laminating machine with some 3mm laminating film. And the reason why I did that is because it was printed on the back, and for what I'm going to be doing with adhesive, if you just use adhesive on that print, you can pull the print right off of the plastic of the template. And I don't want to do that, so I'm protecting that printed surface by laminating it. And then, so now this is my little tip thing that, well, actually the second part of my tip is I get this little clear gridded, it's not gridded, clear plastic. It comes in the template. Again, my favorite templates, the non-slip vinyl template sheets, and this is the non-gridded version. There's 2 sheets of non-gridded plastic in here, and I just cut it into quarters into A2 size because it's 8.5 by 11 sheets, perfectly sized for card makers. And so what I'm doing is I'm getting this, I'm getting my little template thing, and I'm getting my ATG gun. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a couple lines of ATG adhesive on the back of my template, and that's where the adhesive comes in, where if you rub that off and you hadn't laminated it, it would probably pull the print right off the template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on my template plastic exactly where I want it, lined up exactly how I want it. So I'm going to say I want it towards the upper half of my card, and I want the 1 point sticking up and then the 2 points sticking down, and the rest, you know, going wherever. And so I'm going to position that there, and I'm going to stick it down. And now I know when I put the stamp pieces in my MISTI, it's going to be perfectly lined up for an A2 card in this position, so that I can put it this way. And I want to put it this way because I want to do 2 steps in my one MISTI, and this is the original size MISTI, and I'm just going to hold that all down. So this is my template now, and then I'm going to get my stamp set out. And if you don't know how to use it, you just get whichever stamp you want to use, and you're going to put it face down, of course, and then you're going to line it up according to the template. You're going to put that stamp exactly over the lines on the template. And what helps is if you poke your head into there and just look at it right over it, it'll help you position it. And I'm not going to do it right now, but what you're going to do is position that exactly. And you might take some fussing. Sometimes, you know, these stamps kind of stretch. So what helps is you put that down, and then the template is going to help hold it in place. And you can, you know, if it gets a little bit stuck, you can just unstick it, move it around, and then press it down a little bit. And so you make sure that you're going to get it in exactly the correct position to stamp that. So you just adjust until it's perfect. And then you go ahead and pick that up. And the whole template's going to come with it, but that's fine. And now I'm done with the template for now, at least for this portion. And then I can stick my A2 size cardstock down. And then I'm just going to ink it up, and I just have some random ink cubes here. I'm just going to use one just to show you that when I stamp that down, that is exactly positioned how I had it on my template. I have the 1 point sticking up, the 2 points kind of pointing down, and then the rest going wherever. And it's centered on my card. It's toward centered this way, and then it's kind of towards the top of my card, so I can put a sentiment underneath there. But you can see how that makes it really, really easy to figure out where on your A2 card you're going to put that mandala, because you can move it anywhere. And of course, if you want it centered, you can just, you know, and the next time I use it, it's gonna be just fine. I'll just peel it off and I'll position it. Maybe I want it in the middle, or maybe I want to do it on a 6x6 or a 5x5 piece of cardstock, and I can use this anywhere I want. I just need a different piece of template. Or I can even just say, well, you know, I have these measurements on my MISTI. I'm going to say that I want 5 this way. So this is going to be showing me the edge of my card, and then I'm going to get my other bar magnet and put it at the 5. And so this is showing me where my card would be, and then I can put it however I want it lined up. And I can do like that and stick it down, and then position my stamp on there, and it's going to be perfectly centered on a 5x5 card. Of course, you don't need these magnets. I'm just showing you that. But anyway, my second tip is for the die cutting. If you want to make a whole bunch of these as die cuts, and you don't care where it's positioned because you're just going to cut it out eventually, what you can do is do one. You know, you position your stamp however you want it, and then you stamp one card. Let me move this out of the way. You stamp one card, and then you're going to position your die. Whoops, these magnets are so strong. So you're going to position your die, and it takes a little bit of doing to position that die exactly correctly. So, I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I ran that stamped version through my die cut machine, and what I just made was a template for myself for the stamping. And if you haven't seen this technique before, it's going to blow your mind. Okay, so this, of course, isn't perfectly done because I didn't line up my stamp perfectly. I didn't line up my die perfectly, but I got it as close as I could just to show you this technique. So now I'm calling this a template, and what that means is I'm going to stick that down, and I also die cut a couple from that same die on blank white cardstock that I'm going to stamp on, and then I'm going to use this. Let me get another magnet here. I'm going to use this to show me where to position my die cut, because it's going to fit right into that template. And then when I go to stamp, it's going to stamp in exactly the correct place on that die cut because I have my template. And so I'm going to get the perfectly stamped die cut every single time without having to line up my die. So it saves a lot of time. If you stamp like 10 of these and then you have to line up your die every single time and make sure that it doesn't shift while it's going through the die cutting machine, that can be a lot of time. But this way, all you have to do when you're running through your machine is do the blank one. And then you've got this perfect template here. As long as you make sure your template is positioned correctly, you just slide that die cut in and then you stamp on it, and every single time it's going to stamp perfectly onto that die cut, and you didn't have to do any positioning at all. So that's my second tip, and I hope these tips help you using this mini mandala set. I just love this set. I think it's so innovative and so much fun. From Concord and Ninth. So that's it for me today. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you'll come over and visit me at mycasestudies.blogspot.com. Bye!